What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing well. About a year ago, I released a week in the life video where I took you along an entire work week with me, and I thought it might be interesting to this time release 2 day in the life videos. One typical day in the life as a content creator, and another day in the life video as a therapist in private practice. I have 2 businesses. One of my businesses is my private practice, seeing therapy clients, and another business is content creation for private practice skills, this thing that you're watching right now. Currently, I spend 1 day a week on Wednesdays seeing my therapy clients, and then the rest of the work week is available to work on private practice skills. A huge component of private practice skills is creating content for this YouTube channel. And typically Mondays are the 1 day a week where I really hit content creation hard, where most of the time I script, film, and start to edit my video for that week. So today's video is focusing on a typical day as a content creator, so I'm gonna bring you along on a typical Monday, and in the future, I'm gonna release a second video taking you along on a typical Wednesday when I see therapy clients. All right, let's hop into Monday. Usually on Monday, I get up before 6:40 in order to make sure there's enough time to help get my girls ready in the morning so that my husband can drop them off at preschool and come back in time for his job. Now you'll notice I'm choosing not to show footage of the rest of my household in this video just to protect their privacy, but you will get to hear some cute excerpts from my girls later in the day.
Should we listen to a song in the car?
Yeah.
What song should we? True?
Yeah.
My spouse is usually out the door around 7 a.m. in the morning to take the girls to preschool, and then I do some chores around the house before I start my workday. Mondays are trash day, so I take out the trash, I tidy from the mess of the weekend, and then I start to spend some time for myself before I transition into work mode. I've noticed for me that if I hop straight into work mode after getting my necessary house chores done, I tend to feel pretty anxious, and it can last for most of the day or all day sometimes if I do that. But if I'm intentional about setting aside even just a few minutes in the morning to take care of me, it really helps me transition out of mom mode from the weekend and into Monday, Marie, work mode, creativity, whatever I want to do with my Monday. If the weather's nice, which I live in San Diego, so it usually is, then I like to go outside and spend a little bit of time out there. When my family moved into this house in the summer of 2022, this backyard was all AstroTurf and river rocks, and I've spent the time since then completely tearing it down to a dirt lot and then planting native plants in its place. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time nerding out on that topic here. If you want to learn more, some people refer to this type of gardening as backyard restoration gardening. You can also follow along on my journey on Instagram, where I post about my garden sometimes. And I'm usually just puttering around, walking around with my coffee, checking on my plants. Right now, the exciting thing to me in my garden is that all my wildflower seedlings are coming up. Since our summers are so hot and dry and our winters are so mild, fall is the best time to plant seeds. So I'm just so happy to see all my seedlings coming up. I'll just walk around and look at them. Maybe occasionally I'll pull a weed or two if I spot one. And if I have time, I love to take a moment to just sit down, maybe hang out with my dog a little bit. If she feels like playing, play with her a little bit. And it feels like I completely hit the reset button, even if I only spent 10 or 15 minutes out there. And once I come back in, I check on my fish. I know, I have a fish tank. I've been researching planted fish tanks for 5 years. I've never had any experience with fish in the past, and I finally planted my first aquarium this past September. At the time that I filmed this video, I'd only just added the fish a week prior, so the water's a little cloudy because there was a bacterial bloom as the ecosystem adjusted to that new addition, but it's since been crystal clear and everything's doing really great. These fish are male endlers. They're very busy. They're always up to something, so I could just stare at this tank and get lost in it for a long time. And then around 8 a.m., I'll start to transition into work mode. I'm always surprised that it's only 8 o'clock in the morning by the time I get to this point, because I always feel like I've had a whole morning at this point, and then I check the clock and it's when most people start their work, or maybe earlier. I have a desk set up in our guest room, and that's my work from home spot where I'll check my emails, I'll check my to-do list for the day, and then most weeks that's when I start scripting my video for that week. Depending on the video I'm making that week, I may have already done most of the scripting beforehand, And for example, that video that I made about Freud a little while back, I definitely spent like a week or two scripting. Whereas for other videos that are a little bit easier to script, I might only just start scripting them the same morning that I'm going to film them. But I do always have a giant running list of researched video titles so that I don't get hung up on Monday morning on the question of what video am I going to make today, because that is the easiest place to get stuck. And once my video is all scripted, I put on a favorite podcast or sometimes some music and I start straightening my hair. I tend to do this where I'll spend some time working and then I do a task that pulls me out of work mode, like doing my hair, and then I go back into work mode. And for me, I find that being able to be flexible to go back and forth like this kind of helps me focus better when I'm working. It's much easier for me to enter that flow state if I have frequent breaks in between work moments. At this point, it's usually about mid-morning and I start heading over to the office. Once I get there, I like to get things set up so that it feels a little bit more cozy and inviting. I check on my plants and I water them. I have 8 plants in my office, which feels absurd because I don't feel like I have that many plants in here, but I do. And then I begin the process of setting up to film, which can take about 30 minutes or so because I have so much gear to set up. There's something that happens in my brain when I start setting up to film that's a little bit difficult for me to articulate. I can feel myself speeding up and kind of hurrying almost as though I'm anxious, except it feels really soothing. So it's like a type of flow state, but I kind of feel like I've gamified this process where I think like, okay, Marie, it's go time. We're gonna film this video. You got this. And once we're done, we can kind of take an exhale and feel like we've done something important. So let's get it done. Now, in my earlier days with this channel, I used to film videos maybe once or twice a month and batch film a bunch of videos all at the same time. Like sometimes it was 3 videos at once. Sometimes it was up to 6 videos in one day. My approach has really shifted over the last couple of years. Back then, I was really focused on pushing out as much content as possible to feed the YouTube algorithm. And now I am focused much more on honing in a craft, which completely changes how much time I spend on each video, and there's absolutely no way I could batch film my videos now. So for the most part, except for this video that you're watching, I'm recording the video that's gonna come out on Friday that Monday. Well, here we are at my desk finally. It's 10:45 and if you've watched my videos extensively, you may already know I put makeup on at my desk using my computer camera as my mirror. One thing I was noticing as I went about my morning so far is just how intentional I am about trying to not hurry through my day, and also just how many things that I take care of and nurture. And all of that is kind of what I hoped for 5.5 years ago when I started dreaming about private practice skills and what it might look like in a future state. So I'm so grateful that that's where I'm at right now, and it's been like that for quite some time. Whew. All right, well, I really took my time. I watched some YouTube while I put my makeup on. It's 11:15. So I'm gonna set up my camera on this tripod over on my couch so I can film this week's video. And my goal is to hopefully start editing, and then I can run off and get myself some lunch and do some errands later today, but you'll see that in a little bit. And then it's finally time to film. Now, back in the day, I used to spend like 10 to 20 minutes filming each video and then I would edit it down. And now I spend upwards of an hour and sometimes much longer than that filming a video. I've really come to value repeating the same lines over and over again, but just tweaking them slightly so that I can keep the best take in the final edit, hopefully to make the best video that I can. Also, more recently, I've started sometimes at least releasing the podcast version of the video, which is much more extended, and I end up keeping a lot more of that stuff in there. And I think because I know that, I end up talking more in the video as well. Once I finish recording, I start to import everything into my hard drive and I start tearing down my gear. And I always feel this huge sigh of relief at this moment in the day because I've locked and loaded my video for the week. Even though I still have 10 hours or 15 or maybe even more hours of editing left to do that week, I feel like I can just kind of do that at my leisure, and I've locked in the footage for the week and I've done the hard part. And the reason why I always set up and tear down all my gear every single time I film is because this is the same office that I see my therapy clients in. By Wednesday, I'm gonna have clients sitting on the same couch doing therapy with me, and I can't be having recording gear all over the place for that. So I just always tear down right away. Sometimes folks ask me if I hire out editing or why I haven't hired out editing my videos. And I think there's a few reasons for it, but probably the biggest one is that I enjoy editing videos. And so in a way, you could say it's less productive than if I hired someone. Maybe I could make more content. But also, I've come to learn that editing a video is just as much a part of the creative process as like scripting and recording the video itself, because I do spend a lot of time curating the edit of the video. Sometimes it ends up looking a little bit different than I initially scripted it. Now, I realize that because I edit my own videos, the outcome is going to be a little bit more amateur than certainly if I hired a professional video editor to edit for me. But I also have come to value that sense of kind of personal touch to say, well, like, hey, it's me. It's me running this business. It's me making the content. It's me answering your emails. And though that means that I can only do so much, at least you know that it's me and, I don't know, not AI or just, you know, somebody ghostwriting for me or something like that. Okay, so I actually made it a little further in my edits than I'd planned. It's 2 o'clock now, so I've just been editing for the last little bit, and I made it through what I call my first pass. So that's when I just have like a clean A-roll cut. But I haven't done any like editing tricks. This is a pretty good pause point for today as far as editing. I get a little loopy if I edit for too long. So I'll pick this back up tomorrow. And I think what I'm gonna do is in the next hour or so, pick up some lunch to go and do something fun. I don't even know what I'm gonna do. And then I have to get some groceries and pick up my girls from school. So off we go. And often on Mondays in particular, I kind of treat myself. It's like I recorded my video, I did the hardest work of the entire week, and now I'm gonna treat myself to eating out somewhere nice. I know some people talk about feeling embarrassed eating alone, and I don't think I've ever quite related with that, but I especially cherish the time right now because with a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, it's a privilege to have moments where you can eat and like enjoy your food. And after eating, I did a little like window shopping, you could say, at a local nursery. I do that often where I don't typically buy anything unless there's something I'm looking for that I found at a great price. At this point, it's probably like 3:30 or so. My girls' school is 20 miles away, which is not by choice. This just happened to be the closest preschool that we could find that was available to take both of our girls when we first moved here. We're just waiting until they're school age to move them to our local public school. It can take up to an hour to commute to my girls' school at this time of the day, and so what I've started doing when I can is I try taking the back roads, which take basically the same amount of time, but it's a beautiful drive. And so I'm always really grateful when I get to make this drive through the back roads. I do our family's weekly grocery shopping on Mondays before I pick up my girls. And today I needed to stop by Target because my youngest needed a new pair of shoes. Usually I go to Trader Joe's because I think it's the best. But today I went to Target and it was so peaceful. Again, shopping alone when you have 2 little ones is just like a beautiful privilege. So I enjoyed it so much. And then I was off to pick up my girls. Now it is kind of getting late. It's 5 p.m. I pick them up a little later on Mondays and Wednesdays because those are my big work days. And then the other days of the week, I pick them up much earlier and we spend some time together in the afternoons.
Did you guys have a nice day? Yeah.
And if you've been following my stuff like religiously and you remember that I've always talked about how I work part-time and I spend the rest of my week with my girls, I caved in the beginning of November. I couldn't take it anymore because my oldest had dropped her nap and I realized that just going 14 hours a day with no break by choice was not working for me. And so now my girls go to preschool 5 days a week instead of 3 days a week. I absolutely love my girls. I have some mom guilt from making that change, but honestly, I am a much better mom when I have some breaks in my schedule because I really was not giving myself breaks at all. And that's it. That's a typical day in my life as a content creator. This is the schedule that I wanted when I started Private Practice Skills. And I know it's so unconventional. For folks who want it, it feels hard or impossible to get it. So I always feel this like push-pull of like extreme gratitude that I'm here, and also this pain of like, I wish I could hand out my schedule to everyone who wants it. So thank you for watching, because the only reason this workday works is because people watch my videos, and that whole thing just blows my mind completely. But genuinely, I appreciate you because you are sustaining for me this life that I've always wanted. And before we close, I'd like to thank TherapyNotes.com for sponsoring this video. TherapyNotes covers all of your practice management needs from scheduling to notes to billing, and they have a HIPAA-secure telehealth platform included for free for all users. If you'd like to check out TherapyNotes, you can get 2 months to try it for free with no commitment just by clicking the link in the description of this video. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Stay tuned. In a few weeks or so, I'll release part 2 of this where I take you on a typical day of my life seeing therapy clients. And I'm curious to hear from you in the comments if there was any aspects of my content creator schedule that you weren't expecting or were surprised by somehow. And until next time, from one therapist to another, I wish you well. So that's still, I spat, excuse me. Oh, I got makeup all over my hand.
Frankie hit me and they give me a hug and I want my water.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
Okay, that didn't happen today.